if you're a creative entrepreneur, chances are you've ended up like many of my clients, lots of offerings, but they're collecting dust. They're not really getting the traction you'd like to have online and in the marketplace. So what if there was a trick or a secret weapon, if you will, to help you really optimize your sale of all your online offerings that would generate higher quality leads, tons of cash flow, and you knew that you were able to grow the business the way you wanted? Hi, it's Melanie Benson, and I am America's leading small business optimizer. And this is a weekly podcast series where I like to bring you some of the top secret weapons, great resources, people who've optimized their business out there in the marketplace so that you can learn how to make your business perform better. The whole idea is, what are the little strategies that have a huge impact on your bottom line, your sanity, and the performance of your team and your strategies for success. Now, today, I want to introduce you to someone who's a really good friend of mine. And I got to tell you, as I've gotten to know him over the years, I'm so blown away by what he's able to create for his clients. Alan McKenna is a highly accomplished and successful sales and marketing strategist who creates 6- and 7-figure automated marketing funnels and what he calls high-profit sales funnels. And he's worked with some really big names out there in the industry. Alan, is it okay we say a few of the people that you've worked with over the years?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so, not that I don't love Alan all in his own right, but I can tell you when he started rolling off the names he'd worked with, I was a little impressed. No, let's just say a lot impressed. He's worked with T. Harv Eker, he's worked with John Assaraf, he has helped build sales funnels for Kendall Summerhawk and Lisa Sasovich, and, the list goes on and on and on. But most importantly, Alan has a technique of helping you set up the flow of how you're going to make your offerings so it works. And it doesn't just work a little, it works gangbusters. So, Alan, I'm so glad we're finally able to get you on. I know you're a man in high demand, so I feel really thrilled that we're able to come and have you share some of your secrets today on the show.
Thank you, Melanie. It's great to be talking with you. Great to be here.
So I always love, well, first of all, before I get to how you got to be an expert in sales funnels, I just have to say our anniversary is coming up. We actually have a friendship anniversary. We met at an event, and it's so funny, you never know where you're going to meet somebody and how you're at an event for one reason and you just end up finding out there was all these other reasons you're supposed to be there. But we met at an event called the Unstoppable Gala 3 years ago now, right? So it's coming up this weekend as we're doing this recording, and we're going to have to celebrate. We'll have to do a little jig on the dance floor to celebrate.
So we met on the dance floor.
Yes, that's right. We did.
Someone introduced us.
It was literally like one person's grabbing, pulling me across the dance floor. You have to meet this friend of mine. You have to meet this friend. And I'm like, okay. So it was really cool, and I'm really glad that, I think it's one of the best investments you can make is to be at events for your industry, to meet people, because you never know who's going to become one of your closest friends or become an asset or a resource that's going to transform your business. And I know, Alan, you've done that for a lot of people. So grateful.
Yes, me too.
So, let's go a little bit behind the scenes for a minute on how you decided, or what led, I should say, to you becoming a sales funnel expert. Because I know you didn't wake up one day and go, oh, I'm going to do sales funnels, right?
That's right. It stems from when I was 21 years old, I started out in sales and marketing, and actually started out knocking on doors, making appointments, selling people physical things, etc. And that was when I lived in England. And then I moved to America, got a transfer with a company I was working with there, an international company on the East Coast, actually. I lived there for 10 years. I ran the marketing for that company, generating leads, and as well as optimize their sales. And after 10 years of living on the East Coast, I was just done with the weather. I'm done with winter. I'm going to move. This is the dream. I'm going to move to Southern California. So I moved to San Diego. And when I moved to San Diego, I didn't have any idea what I was going to do. Knew that I was good at generating leads. Knew that I was good at sales, and set that up for a number of companies, so a couple of companies. So when I moved to Southern California, I thought, let me try and learn the internet marketing thing. It's kind of growing. It was 2004. And so I started getting on teleseminars, webinars, and just listening to different people, started to learn it. And then a friend of mine said to me, will you help me with my marketing? He said, I don't understand the first thing about it. And this place is speak all over the world and have big audiences on teleseminars that other people were inviting him to. But he never had a database of his own to speak of. He had 300 people on his list, I think, at the time. And but the guy had a really good message, and he really connected with people. So anyway, I got in there, and from the things I've been learning online, and from my sales background, I managed to build in a series of funnels that literally grew his business 128% in the first year. And one of the biggest contributing factors to that was the fact that he used to have a class where he taught people his methodology, and they become certified in what he did. He would charge him $15,000 for it. And he had a space for 24 people in that class. But he only averaged about 8 people in the class because he hadn't got enough lists to be able to get people in there, or even a methodology to get people in there. So I built an entire funnel end to end, to everything from selling for $10 up to $300, audios, etc., into retreat packages for $2,000-3,000, into this $15,000 training program that he had. And we end up maxing out the number of people in his 24-person class and creating a waiting list, which was nice for him because it ended up putting about $720,000 in additional revenue into his pocket in 1 year. When he's standing in front of a class teaching, what difference does it make whether he's teaching 8 people or 20 people? The difference is the profit. So anyway, that was my kickoff into the internet marketing world, and merging it with my sales background, being able to take people through to leads that we can have a conversation with, and to high-end clients. So
let's take a step back and explain what a funnel is, because we might have some listeners who aren't familiar with that terminology. And also, I think I want to cover, does this something that works outside of the internet?
Absolutely, yeah. And so to give an explanation of a funnel, it's really where, if you're going to start out with an ideal client profile, you're going to understand who the people are that you want to target. What's the first step to bringing them into a relationship? How do we connect with those people and give them something of value that will enable us to move them further up an ascension path? And whether you're online or offline, you can do the same thing. I mean, prior to me moving to Southern California, everything I built was offline. It was all direct mail or telephone or whatever it might be, or sending out brochures to people that have made a request and things like that. So a funnel is built online and or offline, and or both. And it's really attracting the people that you know you can serve and nurturing that relationship to a point that they choose to take something further with it.
Yes. A warm up, a lot of people come in cold, and you might connect with them somewhere in a lead generation fashion where they have no idea, but there's an interest in what they're saying. So then it's like, how do we build that trust and rapport that gets them comfortable enough to make larger and larger purchases of something that is valuable?
Yep.
Yeah, got it. And so, why would somebody who's successful in business turn to you to optimize their sales funnel? Like, what's the big problem that you notice entrepreneurs and small business owners are having?
Sure. There's a couple of things. One is the really great people that I work with, they know in order to get themselves where they really want to go, they need to hire people that have resources outside of their own skill level. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I would say this is the same with any business, including our own. When we're so close to it ourselves, it's too difficult to see where the problems really lie or where the opportunities really lie. Sometimes it's problems, but a lot of times it's just opportunity. So when a client hires me, it's, I look at their business from end to end and say, okay, where is the the fastest, the shortest path to the fastest way we can make more money, and then what is it long term that we can build out that will sustain this business in being able to scale it. One of the key things is clients having so many things they're constantly launching, the next campaign, that they're just in this constant flow of okay, I need to get this done. And for me, it's building out, or one of the reasons they hire me is to build out evergreen funnels, things that are going to sustain, whether they're launching something or not launching something, whether they're sitting on the beach in Hawaii or whether they're, working hard on filling an event or whatever it might be. There's something in the background that is constantly attracting the leads, nurturing the leads, generating cash flow, generating profit without their involvement. So I'll give you a case study on that. With Kendall Summerhall, we built an evergreen funnel for her about 20 months ago. In the last 20 months, Kendall has only worked on that about 20 minutes. We created one additional video that we just slotted into the sequence. But in that 20 months, it's a machine. It produces leads and sales day in, day out, which is really awesome. She doesn't have to think about it. We just find places to drive traffic from and just keep driving traffic into it.
Yeah, I love that. It's such a great concept. And somebody who kind of recognized very early on, it's like launch addiction. We all say the launch is where the money is, but then you get into that addiction of like, I got to get the next one out. And, you're burning out your list, but it's a lot of energy to get a launch done. So the idea of being able to create an evergreen model means that you don't have to work as many hours, but you can still produce really high results.
Yep.
So let's get into the meat of it, like something that like is a strategy or a tip or technique that someone could put into action right away around this concept of having a sales funnel.
Sure. So one of the other key funnels that I've put into place for a number of clients is a high profit sales funnel, and that's really something that can help them sell higher ticket products and programs. A lot of people, they focus on selling the entry-level products, entry-level programs, and it's just like more. How do I get more of this? How do I get more of this? Not realizing that in that client base, in that customer base, it is a gold mine of cash waiting to be harvested. And the reason is that, and there's a fabulous book by Perry Marshall called 80-20 Sales and Marketing, and he basically mentions how 20% of your clients will spend 4 times the money with you. So, just knowing that, if someone's been spending, if you've been selling a product for $500, there's a number of people out there who will spend $2,000 with you. And of the people that will spend $2,000 with you, 20% of those will spend $8,000 with you. So they'll spend 4 times the money too, and so on and so forth. So one of the things that I've built for Lisa Sasevich, for John Ashraf, for Harv Eker specifically, we had an amazing result there. For Jennifer McLean just recently, is a high profit sales funnel where when people come out the back of an event or they bought a product and there's other programs to lead to that are the higher ticket programs, those products and programs typically need a conversation. When a product gets beyond, a couple of $1,000s and beyond, they typically need a conversation. Someone's not readily going to go and say, oh, it's a $10,000 program, just put my credit card in online and get it done. People will, but, it's mainly they need a conversation because they need to know if it's a fit for them. So the sales strategy, the sales funnel that I built for some of these clients, I've had tremendous results with, really comes down to driving the clients into a strategy session, driving them into a page where they can opt in for a strategy session, take them through a questionnaire so we can understand their wants, their needs, and qualify them out somewhat, put them into a sales team. And that can be a sales team of 1. And by the way, when I first started with Dr. Robert Young, we built out the sales funnel, so everything from $10 into digital products at $300-400 into retreats or a couple of $1,000. But when we got to selling the $15,000 program, we had to hire a salesperson, and we hired one guy. And the guy had never sold anything before in his life, but he was such a raving fan of Dr. Young. It was we built the system out, and I taught him on a specific script that really adds a ton of value to people, just walking them through what they really want. And he made all the sales. He made all the sales, and this guy wasn't even a salesperson. So to build something out where you can drive someone to having a conversation, which is really what it comes down to, and then from that conversation, being able to walk them through an understanding of what they really want, or where they are now, where they want to get to, and what it's going to take to get them from where they are to where they are now, leads to high ticket, which are typically high profit sales. So that's what I built 4 of those funnels last year, which was just really cool because they generate cash very quickly.
So what I'm hearing in all this is that there's a place where a lot of people leave money on the table. You know, they close out an event, whether it's a virtual event or an in-person event, and they're not moving people into that next stage. Or the people who don't say yes, let's say there are a few people who like, I'm ready, and there's an invitation made in that event. But if they don't say yes there, you could move them through this process and help them see if this offer has value for them. And this is a way that you've really been able to help a lot of those experts take their sales to the next level.
Yep, that's exactly right. So I'm going to give you an example of that, a case study. I consulted with T. Harv Ecker's company before he sold it, Peak Potentials, and they were in a live event business, and they sold everything at a live event. And a month into consulting with Harv, I said, Harv, we really need to build a back-end sales team here and make use of all the people that come out of an event that don't purchase an event. So he said, I've tried that before. It didn't really work so well. I said, okay, well, trust me, I've built it before. I've built it with John Ashraf. We had a great result. With Dr. Young, we had a great result. Let's just do this. So anyway, it didn't actually happen until about 18 months after we were into consulting. Then finally we got to build this sales funnel, built this entire sales funnel out. We actually hired 3 people, and within the space of about 4 months, we went from 0 being sold because they didn't have a sales team to $200,000 a month. That's a chunk of money. That's a lot of money to be bringing back in for people that they didn't buy the event. Either they had to go home and speak to a spouse, or they just had to think about it, or where am I going to get the money from, or whatever the case may be. But to re-engage those people, and they're hot, they just come out of an event, literally. Finished on the Sunday, we're offering them a conversation come the Wednesday, and then getting people into, scheduling into a conversation. And then, just walking people through a very simple system, a very simple script, enables them to say, I think this is for me. It's not about pushing anybody or, hard selling anybody. It's just about offering them a different path to, maybe they got in their head with something, and, some people just want to go and think about it, which is all one fine. But don't leave those people alone, because they're probably still thinking about doing it. They just need some questions answered.
Yeah, and what I learned the hard way many years ago is that if you don't stay in the conversation with them, eventually the opportunity goes out of their head and they're on to the next bright shiny object. So this is a way of keeping the conversation alive and not losing that traction while they're in the decision-making process.
Yep, that's exactly right.
So, I guess one of the things that I think might come up for someone as they're exploring this idea of a sales funnel and putting it into their own business is, okay, well, the people you're talking about have really big lists and they're really big experts. Does somebody have to have a big list and be a big expert in order to use a sales funnel process successfully?
No.
I didn't think so. I mean, It really will work for anybody in any type of business. It's just knowing how to tweak and refine this process to fit their clientele, their clientele's buying process, their product offerings and things like that.
Yeah, even someone who's a solopreneur, they don't have to hire a salesperson. They can be the salesperson. It doesn't mean they have to be a salesperson. It just means they can get on the phone and have a conversation with someone. Some people go out to set up an online business, and that's all they want to do. They just want to have an online business. But if you do get to have conversations with people, you can sell a $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 plus program or whatever it is that you're selling. Maybe it's one-on-one. I don't know. Who knows? But the opportunity is there for everybody to be able to do that.
So I love this, and I'm a huge fan, and you've given me so much great, advice and strategy as you've been mapping out your systems for everybody, and it's just like this stuff is mind blowing how easy it is once you learn the system. But I gotta imagine, since you mentioned that you've been doing this kind of stuff since your early 20s, and
Sure.
you're only 32 now, right?
Exactly.
um, but you know, along the way, what's been the biggest challenge you personally faced as an entrepreneur?
Um, I'm I think I'd like to say one of the biggest challenges, there's probably two of the biggest challenges. One in not delegating enough, which is something that I have to say thank you to you for, because we've sat down before and you said, okay, this is what you need to do and this is who you need to hire. And guess what? Today I have a couple of people that work for me that are really good, and I get to leverage my time, which is absolutely awesome. So that would definitely be one thing. Is the second thing is wanting to serve everybody,
Yes.
but really knowing who your ideal target client is. And so many times, in the past, I get on the phone and I speak to someone and I go, oh my God, I just so believe in what they're doing. I so believe in what they're sharing with the world and everything else. I really want to help this person, but knowing full well that they don't have the resources to carry out what I'm doing. And at times in the past, I've just gone, well, I'll just take them on board because we can make this thing move, and then it doesn't move the way it should be moving. Not to say it doesn't move, it moves, and it will, over time, it will, work. But there's just not the leverage there. So big lesson for me is really not taking on the wrong clients for me for what I do specifically, because it doesn't serve either of us. I mean, not that it doesn't serve the client long term, it will do, but we will end up getting frustrated because the things aren't moving fast enough because they don't have the resources to put in place. So anyway, that was a lesson for me, is making
Yeah.
sure that we're working with the ideal clients.
Well, in essence, you're talking about leverage, how to leverage your time and the impact you can make in the most effective or most optimized way. And I think we all have those points where we have to make really tough decisions about how can I get the best impact with my genius.
Yep.
So, I'm not going to say up leveling because it's not up leveling, but it's about really being strategic about who you work with allows
Yep.
you to have those greater impacts. And there's all different ways we can leverage, as you know. That's the thing that I do really well, is figuring out, all right, how do we leverage your time? How do we leverage
Yep.
your offering? How do we leverage your assets in a really great way? Well, I'm curious, what did you end up doing with this, and how have you learned to optimize your genius in a way that allows you to stay focused in your best your best skills?
Um, there's a couple of things. One, by when I initially have a conversation, when I get referred to people, because 99% of everything I do is referral, probably 95% actually, because when I go to live events, I meet great people like you and other things like that. So 95% of the people that get referred to me is I will send a questionnaire out, and the questionnaire really is a qualifying process because it takes them through and asks them all sorts of questions related to their business. And it's an education for them, because some of the time they can't fill out all the questions and they go, oh no, I don't even know this. I should know this. But secondarily, it gives me a lot of insight to, okay, can I help this person? Well, I can help most people, but are they in a position to be able to utilize the things that I can give them? And if they're not, then I'm happy to give them some resources to go and get themselves started, then come back around at some other point when they've got the resources in place. And then on top of that as well is what I've just literally launched are two group implementation programs, so that if you're not in the realms of some of the people that we've already mentioned, then some companies still be established and still needs to be doing some good revenue and have a list and stuff like that. But there's a way for me to take those people and put them through in a leverage manner, as you mentioned. Thank you for me again. I can take people through an implementation program where it's structured out for a very small group of people. So that's they're the ways that
I love it. You know, it's been really exciting for me to watch you kind of find your leverage points because ultimately, you know, I know when you are as good as what you do as you are, you can get stretched so thin. You know, you can always end up working. And to me, and I think you get this, and I think you share this, is that lifestyle and like being able to enjoy the fruits of our labor is like if we don't have time for that, why bother? And you could very easily get sucked into working all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So these are great ways to be able to continue to teach people and help them build out this stuff without having to take on that individual implementation piece of it. And I'm sharing this because as you're listening in, you might be hearing for yourself where when you get caught up and get your genius out there in the world and the things you're good at, especially if you're a service provider, you can so easily have every minute of your day sucked away from you. So you got to figure out how to leverage it if you want to grow your financial results and your impact without giving up more of your time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, Alan, as we start to wrap up here, we could spend hours and hours and hours, and I know your programs are, you know, they're in depth, and you've got so much to give, and I know I want to see if there's a resource you can share. But before that, like I think sometimes we walk around with little sayings in our head that keep us in this optimal flow, that remind us who we want to be as a successful entrepreneur. Do you have one of those, like a quote or something you say to yourself to keep yourself on track?
I don't know if I have something specific that I say, but I know I wake up in the morning ready to serve, ready to go. You know, it's just like it's my go switch, and I just know with the work that I do, with the people that I work with, I get to leverage their genius through leveraging my own genius and impact, you know, tens of thousands of people, which is really, really cool. Do I have a specific saying around that? No, not really. I just kind of wake up every morning and go, okay, go.
Different direction, because that ability to hit go, I think you actually are very purposeful creating that energy. Do you have a couple of things that you do consistently that help you stay on fire and keep that energy alive? Because I actually know what your routine is, so I'm hoping you'll remember what. This is actually a really valuable thing that people don't know about other successful entrepreneurs.
There's one thing that I do every morning, and that's I will wake up and put meditation on and allow my mind just to allow myself to wake purposefully. Let's just call it that. And then, I mean, outside of that, I mean, the thing that keeps me energized and sharp is eating right constantly, as you know.
I was hoping you would share your philosophy.
Yeah. And working out, you know, it's working out because it keeps you sharp, it keeps your energy high. And, you know, does it mean you don't get to the middle of the afternoon? You're like, well, you know, I could do with a nap or whatever. No, it doesn't always mean that. It doesn't always mean that you do, but either. But just eating clean and working out just gives me what I feel is the edge to be able to get up and say, off we go.
Yeah. You know, and thank you for sharing that, because sometimes it's the habits of self-care that are just as important as the habits of what we say to ourselves. And I think a lot of people, when they get busy, they forget to take care of their body. You know, we let those poor eating habits slide in because we're too busy to take a proper lunch break, or I can't fit workout in. You know, you are as busy as anyone I know. You have a million people that, you know, are clamoring for your time and attention, and you make time. And I think we have to remember that without that, you're going to deplete the most important natural resource an entrepreneur has.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing that. So Alan, let's share with people how they can get a hold of you and some kind of a resource that will start to teach them about this really valuable sales process, or sales funnel process, I mean.
Sure. So I literally just created a guide. It's called The Ultimate Guide to Creating a High Profit Sales Funnel. And you can download it as a resource. And if your listeners want to go to highprofitsalesfunnel.com, they can go there and download that. And it gives you the 7 steps to creating the 6 and 7 figure sales funnel. So it's laid out in there. It has the case studies in there, the people that I've put this in place for, and results that we've got, and it gives you the 7 specific steps to create a sales funnel.
Great, I love it. And I highly recommend that if you would like to take your financial gain to the next level, and you've got a lot of offerings, and or you just want to see how could you optimize your sales process. There are so many great nuggets, so many great and systems that Alan has not only taught me, but these amazing experts that are killing it, as we say. So go check it out and get a copy of it for yourself. You can follow the link right here. And most importantly, you be willing to take one piece of your puzzle, one piece of your process, and just focus on making that work better. When you try to do the whole thing at once, it can maybe feel a little daunting. All of these people that Alan's telling you about, they didn't do the whole thing in a day. It's about taking a piece of it and optimizing it, then going to the next piece and the next piece. So just get that special tool, check out which part you're going to feel most optimizable, and then put it into action. So Alan, thanks so much for being here, and I really appreciate you sharing your wisdom today. All right, everybody. Look forward to hearing how you're going to optimize your sales funnel. You can share a comment below in the blog, or if you're listening to us on iTunes, pop on over to melaniebensonstrick.com on the blog there and come share with us something that you learned from today's episode. And again, be sure to check out Alan. Bye, guys. Bye, Alan. Thank you.
Thanks, Melanie. Bye. Bye, everyone.